Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Build Live from Oak Hill Works. How are we all doing? I hope you are well. Yes, we are back with the Invalid Saloon. As promised, it didn't go away forever. And also the Horsebox from last week. And I bought some of the Hornby coaches in their LB&SCR livery, so that I could show my point from last time about the difference in colour between mahogany and Hornby. So there is quite a difference there. And we're definitely not dropping them, but you know, they'll get there. And so yes, I'm trying to return to self-reading actual books. I've gotten very out of practice with the electronic collective brain instead. Well, Andy, I have, since our last live stream, read 1.5 novels. So I'm getting back into reading proper books as well. I have 6.5 more to read that I've recently bought. I am well, enjoying the good audio quality. Glad to hear it, James. It's always good when these things are not one-offs. I also approve of Invalid Saloons, just be sure not to mix them up. The horse wouldn't go well in the Invalid Saloon. It really would not, no, you're right. And the hay wouldn't do much for the Invalid. No, that's also true. You are quite right there. Goodness, that shows off the Billington roofline on the Horsebox too. It really does, yes. It shows just how squat these Hornby coaches are. There is a big difference in the roofline there. And that is why these Hornby coaches really are very much only Stroudleys. Not dropping that either. Proper books are the best sort of books. They are indeed, as I've been rather enjoying reading a proper book again. I read many comics, but it's not quite the same as a novel, is it? So yes, after last week, obviously we've got no buffers on here, and we've got the wrong sort of couplings because it's got 3 links instead of screw links. But one was very close to an LSWR car. Pass. Linny can answer that. But I've got the other 2 Southern companies here. This one is SE&CR. But the Hornby carriages are very much Stroudleys. But yes, so what we have over next to me, we have a bag of buffers. They are sprung buffers. Not, you can see that once they're out of the bag rather than in. I also have a pair of screw links that I found because, you know, I did have some screw links. It's just I put them away in the drawers rather than bringing them in here, which makes total sense, obviously. So yes, I have the correct couplings and I have buffers to put on it. And then I suppose the roof needs a coat of paint and actually stick it on, because obviously it's only placed on at the moment. What I've not done is bought an oil pot out to put on the roof, because I do have a white metal oil pot for it. So that was silly. I'll be right back. I'm just going to go and grab it. And we're back with some oil pots. See, I've got a whole bag of them. I knew I'd forget something. LSWR carriage should have the collection mouldings picked out, which Hornby carriages don't because they don't have any collection mouldings. SCR boat train baggage car. Alex talking about collection mouldings difference. Oh, lovely. 5 and 9. Indeed, yes, 5 and 9, Linny. The boat train baggage car that the good lady Alex was talking about is the Hatton's ones, not the Hornby ones, Will. I paint the tiles, retro collection on my conversion. Does the job well enough? It does. Your conversion is looking really good, Matt. I was very impressed with that. And good evening, Rob. How are you? I am very well, thanks. See, the conversion looking lovely, Matt. Yes, yes, it is a great conversion. So yes. So we will, I think, we'll get this started first. Or finished first. The word is finished, not started, because it is quite simply swap the couplings, stick the buffers on, make a hole in the roof for the oil pot, paint the roof and stick it on. Good evening all, how's everyone? I am good, thank you, Alexander, and good evening, welcome, how are you? Looks different from the piece I sent you as it's now on its bogus. I saw it on the thread as well, Matt. For any work saw them out, you're going to keep Hornby livery. Yes, I say I was quite impressed with that on the thread, Matt, when you pointed out that nothing's been stuck together. I was rather shocked that is how well you have cut it. That was really good. Don't forget you glaze it. Yeah. Oh, we got to glaze it as well. I've got some glaze in here. It's under my notepad. My notepad has dragons on it because if your notepad doesn't have dragons on it, why would you even have that notepad? So let's get the glazing out, then I won't forget about it. He says, hoping. And there it is. Substantially less glazing than I thought I had, but still should be enough for these two. Get that done back up so that it doesn't all fall out everywhere. Letting change the league at the lining point was much better than I could do. That's a good argument. Because my notepad has Intercity Swallow on it. But Intercity Swallow isn't a dragon, Alex. So lovely Horsebox. It is, isn't it, Rob? This is laser cut out of MDF and card by Linny. Before Linny started doing things with 3D printing. How much glazing did you think you had? More than this. I was quite sure I had more than this, James. But it should be enough. I approve of Alex Noel's notepad. Well, not dragons though. NSC notepad would also be a thing. No, I don't see how that could be a thing. City Swallow, that's definite elegance. It isn't. It's better. Oh, but. Did you have any white metal horses? You might have mentioned that last week. I have lots of white metal horses. Yes, it's much to be said for glazing abundance. Indeed, my notepad was also free with my laptop, so you know there's that. The problem is it points out just how old my laptop is because of its 2016 and 2017 calendar in the back. SCR Saloon carriage 4 or 6 wheel, can't see. It is bogies. It is a short bogey carriage, but it is a bogey carriage. It is an invalid saloon with a nice big compartment for the invalid and a first class compartment for others, along with toilets and baggage. As your anti-NSE is, I am currently working on calibrating stock positions with 10-car rake of any NSE carriages like that. That's too many NSE carriages. 9 of them are NSE, 1 of them is blue-grey. The blue-grey one's okay. Bogies to make the invalid more comfortable. Indeed. Who would add me something that's great? Which kit? It is a branch lines kit. So it is SE&CR went on to the Longmoor, is now preserved at the Kent and East Sussex, I believe. It was a very fun build, that one. Too many NSE carriages. What is the right number of NSE carriages? I want to say 0, but I have more than that. So I'm going to say 2, because that's how many I have. And yes, unlike my 33, my NSE carriages are still in NSE livery. Invalid Saloon, the private charter jets of the 1800s. Well, and not any other saloons. What are your NSE carriages? I'm intrigued now. I have 2 NSE Mark IIs. One of them's a brake, the other one's a something. You'd upset my pal Callum with his NSE layout, which is built in Scotland. That's a terrible place to build an NSE layout. Just like every other place, in fact, really. Need an SE themed live stream, you're not getting one. No, you're definitely not getting one. Do like a nice Mark II. I approve NSE lenses. I do like the Mark IIs, they're not bad at all. And yes, as the bot says, remember to smash that like button or give it a gentle tap. And whilst you're there, make sure you subscribe, press the notification bell so you get alerted when I go live or upload a video, because sometimes I do that. It is a rumour I've heard. Almost as much Glasgow Street, Queen Street layouts in Cornwall. I prefer a Glasgow Queen Street layout in Cornwall. To... Actually, NSE layouts in Scotland are fine. They're far away from me. No one would go about hating NSE this much if they weren't a secret love for it. You know what? Saying about how much I hate NSE livery. Just for you, I'm just trying to get hold of SE&CR 4 6-wheel carriage drawings so I could build some, but anything non-bogey seems as rare as hen's teeth in SCR to find drawings of. In that case, Rob, join my Discord. !Discord in the chat, or oakhillmodelrailway.co.uk/Discord. Go into the drawings section. There are some pinned messages. In the pinned messages is a link to all my SE&CR drawings, which includes some SE&CR four-wheelers of the 27-foot variety. Possibly some 6-wheelers as well, and I believe there's some earlier stuff in there and all. And with all this talking, I must remind you all, hydration is important. Even though just tuned in, hope all are safe and well. I am indeed safe and well, Bob. Thank you very much. How are you? Sweet Tuesday, I'll take it down for now. Thank you, sir. Not a problem, Rob. Not a problem at all. So, who remembers the fun we had with getting the couplings in last week? A part of me wants to just remove the chains and replace them with the screw link setups, but these are already nicely made up and on hoops, so I think I'm going to try and just take the whole thing out, and it will go really, really well, I'm sure of it. This one seems slightly thicker than the Smiths ones, so this might actually go really badly. So look forward to that. Too late to go back now. Let's try this one that looks thicker first. Oh, good. I'll get that in a minute. I don't actually need you right now, Spring. Nope, it went in fine. In fact, I'll get you later, Spring, because I can just use this one. And now comes the fun part. Oh, okay, that went really well. And look, we have the right screw link coupling on there now rather than a free link. Yay, I'm having to reinstall a single DLC for TS. Now watch it break 5 or 6 other things. Well, if it didn't break 5 or 6 other things, I would be highly disappointed. Anyway, as I was going to say earlier, my hatred for NSE is very, very much real. But so someone was uploading pictures of various VEPs and such forth on Twitter the other day, and they uploaded a picture of the one single VEP that got itself Southern livery when Southern first got the franchise off of Connex. And oh my god, did it look terrible. I'd forgotten how bad that unit looked. It looked so wrong in that livery. I approve of proper couplings. Proper couplings are indeed the best couplings. Dovetail gains, is there anything they can't do? Fix stuff. I disapprove of things being broken. As do I. I remember them at Reading in the 90s. If once it isn't Dovetail's fault, well, it has to be occasionally not their fault. And also limited in the 80s. See, VEPs are my earliest. VEPs are why I don't like NSE. VEPs and NSE, it's just scarred in my brain from those early days of train travel. Connex wasn't bad livery, change replaced by fake Southern. I mean, Connex wasn't a bad livery on the VEPs. I don't think it would work on the modern units. No, I don't care that you're a split pin. That doesn't mean you can split and go either side of the thing. There we go, they're both done. That was actually surprisingly easy after last week. It's amazing how much better a modeler I am when it's not midnight, isn't it? So now we have the correct couplings. Fort Lymington was set, so you have to point there. See, I have fond memories of travel, early days train travel. 117 used to London, Paddington in the 80s. Going to London was exciting. I'm sure it was, but my early days of travel were purely between Hampden Park and Eastbourne, and occasionally Brighton. But Hampden Park and Eastbourne was every week. Not a fan. Normally a trip to a museum or something splendid like that. So the museum trips in London are fantastic. But I didn't do those until I was older and I did them myself. It's 375 7 units look good in Southeastern Blue. They do indeed. Southeastern Blue suits those units really well. Having had a gander at your drawings, some lovely stuff in there. That SCR 6-wheel lantern brakes looks a bit special. There is some wonderful stuff, isn't there, Rob? Yes. Initially, the converted 3-car version, no, that's definitely the 4 ones, still sure of it. So you're just saying letters now. 18 can vaguely remember thumpers on the Uckfield line. I can't, because I've never got the train to Uckfield, even when I lived there. Remember Paddington Station when I was about 3 years old. See, if I'd have done something like that at 3, I'd definitely remember it. Typical scene of a pair of coaches where the grab rails won't come out without breaking. Your video made it look so easy. Hang on. Random grab handle. Slide in behind with the tweezers. Plenty easy. Plenty easy. Put that one in the bag for Corbs because he has put dibs on all these handles. This is the one I did on stream back when they first came out, and I only did the one side of it. I'm trying to keep all the ones that are on both sides like they are at the moment, because I plan on doing a live stream upgrade and a video upgrade of them. So I need at least 2. A very fat cat there, which I remember distinctly, which died before I was 4 years old. I can see why you remember that. Look through this drawing book. No, there's easy removal. Looking up, I think the 412 did also work limited, so we're both right. Well, hey, both right. Those carriages look like the colour of the ones on the Bluebell. They are very similar, but slightly darker than the ones on the Bluebell. Tried that, but they've used super strong glue on it. Right, let's try another random one. Look, that one was even easier. That one's popped straight out. Really rubbing it in now, aren't I, Matt? So it says rotation high density interior. There we go. See, so you're both right. That's good. Right then, we were going to do some modelling, weren't we? I heard rumours about that. We're going to put some buffers on this Horsebox. These are Bachmann round head sprung buffers. They come in packs of 8, and they are what Linny recommended for these. Not recently, but when they were first made, Linny recommended these. And therefore, I believe the holes in the buffer beams are the right size for them. But they are sprung buffers. The whole due to a little bit of working out. Sad news about Llangollen recently. I hope solution can be found out. Indeed, very sad news. It looks like they're going to be able to keep running, but a lot of the stock has come up for sale. If people fancy going in and buying a loco together, I'm down for that. But they got 3 locos up for grabs, and various other stock that was owned by the PLC. But the trust is able to keep running, so hopefully they will be back up and running by the end of this year sometime still. Leamington Flyer was a 413 set. It had its own headboard made by a local. Brilliant. I think the holes might be slightly too small. You'll need to twist the needle file in the hole. Indeed they are, and I have a needle file. Roughing it in, yeah, all 12 broken in one thing came out cleanly. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Try loco us. Band of money bags. Indeed, we should. If they're all going off in receivership, you never know, they might go cheap. That's what I was thinking, Alex. If we all pool our pennies together, we might raise a couple of quid. I literally mean a couple of quid there. I wasn't under exaggerating or anything. We could buy a carriage instead. Does the Llangollen have any Pullmans? Possibly buy a lump of coal from the 10 if we all club together. That doesn't look much more complete for having buffers. There's a link to my Twitter from the bot. Twitter is my most active social media. And even that's mostly just liking and retweeting other stuff, but I'm usually there. Outside of Discord is probably the best way to contact me, because it comes straight through to my phone. And there we go, it has buffers. They need gluing on, but they are there. Well, I only hope they got rid of the idiots who got them into this situation. Clean slate. They got rid of the people who got them into this situation in October. Unfortunately, the situation couldn't be got rid of itself. There is a problem with that, though. Next is the glazing and the roof. Next is the glazing and the roof lamp and the roof. Indeed. So the problem with that is, so the board got replaced in October. But because it's gone into receivership now, the current board of directors will all be banned from running a company. Which isn't great, of course. Does anyone know what the Llangollen put up for sale? Everything that was owned by the PLC. There are a couple of lists about of it, but I can't remember myself. I did have a look, but everything actually owned by Llangollen PLC. So I have put dot super glue on here, and I'm just going to apply that to the edges of the buffers with my pin. tiny amount. We do not want much. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because of them being sprung buffers. I do not want it getting into the mechanism if I tried putting the glue on and then inserting the buffers. So there we go. Buffers stuck. There's no automatic disqualification directives of insolvent companies. Is there not? I thought there was. Fair enough. I take that back. There used to be an automatic disqualification directors who were personally bankrupt, but that's now discretionary. Ah, okay. Fair enough. I take that back then, James. Logos for sale are Hudswell Clark 1731, Jennifer Panity Tank 7751, and Austin number 1. Oh, so we can all buy a Hudswell Clark then, yeah? And good evening, Heritage Railway Productions. How are you? I hope you are well. You join us finishing last week's project? Or a pannier. Everyone has a pannier. Don't need more. I don't need one of them. Right, let's actually mark that now that I know where my scissors are. Get the spring off the scissors. I don't know why my scissors have decided to become magnetic, but they have. Very well, thank you. Excellent, glad to hear it. But I don't have a pannier. Well, if you would like to make them an offer, then do. Loads of panniers, only a few hub boils. I agree, Alex. Not even a model one present, excluding the old Hornby one for childhood in my attic. Oh, now come on, James. There's no excuse for that. Even I have 2 pannier tank models. Admittedly, they're both Triang, but that's not the point. And good evening, Great Northern. How are you? I hope you are well. Full-size pannier wouldn't fit in my shed. Oh, you need a bigger shed then, James. That's what I'm hearing. So, there we have our 2 bits of glazing. I don't have a model pannier, although I still want the London Transport one. You can have one of mine. They're not London Transport, but you can have them. Bigger shed wouldn't fit in my garden. Then you need a bigger garden. Knock down the neighbour's house. I'm sure they won't mind. Very well, thanks. How are you? I am very well as well. I'm glad to hear that you are. So, glue and glaze, as always. There we go, it is coming. I think my neighbours might object, even if you tell them that you're saving a steam engine. Foxcote Manor, going to West Somerset, Grange and Coogan Hall are all at Old Tisley destined, I believe. Will you be lecturing this up on stream, Gary? Yes, I need to check my transfers, but yes, that is the intention. I can't recall if I actually have transfers suitable for a Horsebox at the moment. I think I do, but I need to check. And there we are, she is glazed. Should just be carriage lettering. That's what I thought. And I do have carriage lettering. I can't remember what's on the sheet though. Because obviously I have used some for my Straublis. Who does SR no smoking transfers for Windows? I want to say Fox Transfers. I'm not 100% sure on that though, Matt. Will the horse drop into the scale? That there is. I want to have some on the layout to scale, but not in the Horsebox, no. Still amazing, sets of the railway can be brought to its knees by a rogue engineering arm. Well, anything can happen. Right. That is the middle in that direction, above the door. That is the middle in that direction. That is where we want our lantern to go. Horsebox in question is a D81723 for what it's worth. I actually knew that because I've got the drawings for it. Also, before you glue a lamp in, yep, go ahead. I don't have the drawings up in front of me, so if I'm doing something wrong, do shout. D81273 didn't have full height lamps. Okay then, what did it have? I do have a drawing here. Time to open it up, I guess. Oh yeah, that barely sticks above the roof. And isn't quite above the door. It's above the hinge line rather than the centre of the door. Ping you on Discord. See, oh, I've got it already. I beat you to it. I actually checked them out earlier to make sure I knew what I was doing and everything. That's why I know I've got them. So it actually goes over this part of the roof. And now I don't want to waste a nice 5 and 9 lamp on it, because most of that's not seen. It's sort of only, oh go on, give me some focus. A bit of headcode disc or two glued on top of the roof would look okay. Yeah, I quite agree. That would require me knowing where my box of headcode discs is though. Because I do have a lot of them. Let me go check if it's in the box it should be in. But of course, everything I've moved around recently coming into the new studio. I'm not sure if it is in the right place. Or having some plastic card and a hole punch. Yeah, but I don't have a... Well, I do have a hole punch. I don't know where it is. Back in a second. Well, the simple answer is that no, my headcode discs are not where they're supposed to be. That's rather annoying. This is what I get for moving all my stuff around and reorganising everything. Hydration is still important, by the way, especially if you're sitting under lots of lights. Now blast down the East Coast mainline, new release AP 325. Very happy. Excellent, Alex. What is everyone else up to this fine evening? Please do tell. Whilst we find out just how well I can cut out circles of cardboard. Immediately after finding out how well I can draw them. Calibrating stopping positions in train controller, drilling out boxing rail pins. Having absolutely riveting time doing CAD. Oh, interesting. Shall I pull another one off, Matt, and see how well it comes out? Now, the bot reminding us hydration is important. We know, bot. We know. Gas tank and Halo Island. Repaint Toilet Restaurant. You're doing your O-gauge stuff again. Excellent. I look forward to seeing some of your stuff in big scales. Trying to repaint Toilet Restaurant car at the moment. That and drinking tea. I approve of drinking tea. Please no. Okay, Matt, just for you. That'll be on crunch. Well, best get on with it then, Javier. Working out potential layout of turntable roads. Excellent, Bob. Excellent. I like turntables. Turntables are good. So we're going to try and cut a circle that is actually circular and slightly inside of the drawn line. Actually, circular circles are the best sort of circles. They are indeed. Testing automation logic. Ooh, interesting. That is quite a circular circle. Big models give me a bit of Vegeta, but I love them anyways. Yeah, fair enough. Working on a scale, so for the sea tattle snow dozer from an old 1959 magazine I found at my club. Oh, excellent. Unless the circle is a line, which isn't a bad circle. Well, then it's a line, not a circle. Working on my 009 section layout, mainly the incline up transfer that to the platform net level transfer. Excellent. I look forward to seeing a video in the future. Running some locos I haven't run in a while. I approve of running locos. Possibility of having it motorised is frightening me as I have no experience and unsure whether I have a well type or surface one. Well, I personally prefer well types, but as we know from my previous advice on your shed, I have no idea of Great Western practice, Bob. But yeah, the idea of motorising turntables is a scary one, but I'm sure you will find something that works and get it done. Look at everything else you've done on the layout. It is fantastic. Prove automation logic for your layout. Go surface types, more common to see well types and layouts. Nice to switch things up. Circle line, of course, Paderborn. But look, our circle is actually a circle. I can indeed cut circles out of cardboard. And it's actually a much more appropriate size on that roof than would have been otherwise. So as you can see from the size of the 5 and 9 ones, it's a good job Linny did stop me. Prove the circle line, especially models thereof. Don't models of the circle line look like streets? Like a circle in a spiral, like in a wheel. Circle line is the best line. It's a good line. Very circular, excellent. Ice range, it's more circular than the circle line. Well, it's true, Bob. You have done a fantastic job on that layout, and I have no doubts in your abilities whatsoever. A dab of glue and glaze. And the lamp goes in place. So you can tell I'm not a modeller. Every week when you say what's everyone doing, everyone says something model railway related. I'm always on TS. Not everyone says something model railway related every time. And yeah, you're always on TS. In fact, you're not even always on Train Sim. You play other games sometimes as well. So there. Thinking to build a model of Aldgate Station on the Circle Line, which would be a very nice model, James. And yes, Alex, you do already own a splendid layout. So, now comes the most problematic of times. This roof, yeah. It's supposed to be white, and it's... Well, I mean, it is white, but it's all cardboardy round the edges. I'm going to glue it on first so it can't run away and I can hold it easier. I didn't build it, so I'm still not a modeller. I mean, I know some very good modelers that never built their layout. You could spray it before painting it. I could, if I had a ventilation system. You're right. If I had a ventilation system, I could. But with everything else I've bought this month, the cost of a ventilation system was not there. Well, not in budget. It will be soon, don't worry. Otherwise, I would definitely spray it before painting it. I'm more thinking my white paint hates me, but being it's white, going on white, it might be okay. Consider myself, you're a model enjoyer, there's no shame in that. Consider myself a collector really, and I'm fine with that. Both of those things are fine. Being a model enjoyer and a aura collector. There is no shame in either of those things. Proven ventilation systems. They are good, aren't they, James? We all have different preferences, different abilities and preferences. Indeed, James. Gives me more freedom with what I buy, as I don't have to have a theme era to follow. Makes sense. And I bet you can operate Aero Park nicely too. Indeed, PPE, because eyes are useful. Exactly. Technically, saying I don't have a ventilation system is slightly alarming. Because if we spin round here to where the spray booth is, you can see it does have a fan in it. However, that fan does not go anywhere. If I were to turn that fan on and start spraying now, I would just be pumping everything out the back onto the 3D printer that's behind it. So, not ideal. You'll notice I also haven't put filler over these screws and painted this cabinet that it's on yet. That's also on the to-do list. And back we come. Of course, that spray booth isn't staying either. It's getting replaced by something smaller. That is my cardboard box spray painting booth. Filler over all the screw heads, so it looks nice when I paint. Here, I'll use filler, yeah. And good evening, Red. How are you? I hope you are well. That was my spray booth, not a dumb waiter. And we were discussing the fact that I have no ventilation, so I can't spray things yet. Gareth's singing is splendid. No, it's not. I let you have that one, though. I have to do it occasionally. Don't want those yet. I definitely don't want those. What we want now, you see, is white paint. Dumb waiter. It's not automatic. He's Manuel. Could definitely do a singing live stream. No, I should not. I don't sing. It's a proven fact. Not mine's better. That's why you're more than a guitarist. Every hour is pun hour on the Oak Hill live stream. It is indeed. Don't wait, the person stood in front of it not doing anything. Yep. From Barcelona. Oh, I'm not doing the accent because, well, reasons. They're over here under my smalls pot. Yeah, James did that one as well, Linny, and I didn't sing it. Tune to keep up with a heavy metal singer. Of course I can. Of course I can keep up with a heavy metal singer. Do you not remember that nice bootleg album I sent you, Red? Do the accent. Next time I stream. Oh, hold on a second. I'll hold you to that, Alex. I'm going to remember that. And when you finally do a stream again at some point in the future, I will remember. That's way too liquid. Oh yeah, we had to re-liquidify this one, didn't we? That's a real word. It's still got some solid bits in it. Can't wait till this in my soup. Good luck with that. Yeah, you're right. I'll have forgotten by the end of this stream, Alex. Never mind when you finally do one again. But yeah, I'm much better with a guitar than I am with my voice. And I'm not great with a guitar. Perils of white paint, although it's not looking bad so far. Thank you, James. Yes, so this hadn't closed properly before the last time we used it. I do remember. I had to white spirit it with my dirty white spirit. Making a dirty white, which is more what we want than a clean, pure white. It's not really dirty enough. It's sort of single cream colour at the moment. Every new AP pack has a new feature. This 325's arcing pantograph. It looks so nice. The sun goes down. That's quite cool. Perhaps we should have a guitar live stream. Well, it's been a long time since I've played for anyone. There would need to be a lot of practice before I did anything anyone could hear. Definitely didn't get the sides of the body. I don't know what you're on about. Still better with a guitar than me. I mean, that generally happens when there's people that don't play guitar. You have other talents like singing and not covering the whole end of your carriage in white paint. Oops. Never mind, I can clear it all up with a bit of mahogany over it. It's not the end of the world. I was sort of expecting it. And done. So that's supposed to be. It does indeed. Hydration paint. Hydration paint is not a good idea. Hydration kits and clay didgeridoo, if that's any help. That's an interesting one. Very interesting. A good chance to make that a short time. Good chance. No. Well, I've got lots of reading to do rather than practicing on the guitar. I should. I tried to play one once when I was practicing. It sounded like a cat being strangled inside a music shop, which is why my band and I stick to lead vocals and occasional keyboards. See, I can do keyboards as well. I don't have one anymore. I need to get one because there are some musical things I would like to do. I'm very good at not playing the guitar. I do it successfully every day. I mean, on that note, so do I. There was no paint to keep you spill. Just figured out you're playing. I just figured you'd playing the vibraphone before each show, Gary. Oh. If only. That is, of course, every YouTuber's Lord and Saviour, Kevin MacLeod, playing it before the show. So you just need some lettering transfers now. It does indeed, and it is fantastic, isn't it? It is a wonderful little horse box. If we move this out of the way, we can move that back. As you can see, I still haven't fixed the hole that the glass isn't quite fitting thing. And it can go in the rake there. Oh yes, income. Heck, indeed, Linny. Do Westhouse cylinder and some brake pipes though. Yeah, but right now it needs the roof to dry. And my only brake pipes are vacuum ones. That is lovely. Thank you, Rob. As I say, I'm very impressed with what Linny's done with those. And from what I understand, I am the only person to have ever built that kit. Looks good behind the Gladstone, doesn't it? Though it's fantastic. But yes, as James pointed out, hydration is important. And you'll all notice that this brass kit won't freely roll itself along. These carriages won't freely roll along. But that will, because Linny's kits are so free rolling, it's incredible. And it would look amazing behind Southsea, and it really does, doesn't it? It's fantastic. I've got to get another one built so we can do the it also needs grab handles, Linny. I remembered because there's one sat here. They're somewhere. They're in my box up there, I think. But again, needs the roof to dry first. Indeed, I've not ever built one of those. It was a test build, the prototype for a new chassis design, and it went really well. You should definitely use that chassis in all future laser cut kits, Linny. Saying not the Gladstone. I said the Gladstone. It is a class. I thought I said a B1 actually. I meant to say B1. Only one ever built. How did that come to pass? I have lots of tests. Look, James, I've got another one. I could make it the only 2 ever built. Which I've won myself. Go well, my little race stopping coaches run behind my number 5. Yeah, but I need to build my other one. Oh no, stream has stopped. Oh no, stream has stopped. Stream, we're all back now. We're back now, are we? Are we back now, everyone? Streamlabs didn't report any problems whatsoever. It's always really scary when multiple people start saying there was a outage. And Streamlabs is saying, no, everything is fine. I need to send you a cattle wagon to build. I would love to build one of your cattle wagons. Well, in fact, I'd love to build everything you've done, if I'm honest, Rob. You've got some wonderful stuff there. You ought to do the Warhorse Express with Joe inside. Poor Joey. One of my son's favourite books, actually, Warhorse. Fun fact, the first edition of Warhorse, the cover was illustrated by Victor Ambrose, who was the artist for Time Team, who passed away very, very recently. Oh, the Linny kit? I thought you meant the branch lines kit. No, I meant the Linny kit. I thought it was just me. No, it wasn't just you. We haven't seen the nurse yet. Oh, back now. She's offending a lot of horse boxes. I would rather. Interesting. Well, I think the only odd charmer she's in Not a problem, Rob. You're the one that put in the effort. There you go. James, there's the nurse. The copies of Warhorse with Victor Ambrose illustrated the cover of did not sell well. There were only 500 of them made, and they fetch several thousand at auction now. Chatbot is falling over again. I assume it's because of the outage. Excellent. Very period. Isn't she just? I can't remember what Alex said she came from, but she came from a set, and so the minute it arrived and I looked at it, it's like, yes, that is perfect. That's exactly what we need. Saw Warhorse in the theatre. It was great. It is, isn't it? Yes. Fantastic show. So it is my son's favourite book. He has not seen the shows. Batman World War One soldier set. Well, Batman World War One hospital train figure set. There we go. Yes, it is a fantastic show, Warhorse. I have the DVD as well. But yeah, my son likes all the books by him. I can't remember his name. But yeah, my son likes all his books. Warhorse is his favourite. 2 of the sets, so I could spare 1 nurse, and it was very much appreciated, Alex. I remember going places other than work. Lucky you, Red. I don't even go there. Figure sets, not the train sets. I knew what you meant. I'm sure everyone else did. So, we're going to try and roll some brass. But first, we're going to cut some brass to size. Because you see, this is a very kind set. Michael Morpurgo. That's the one. The roof template that it gives you is 4mm scale. That is exactly the size of the brass I need, with the exact layout of how everything needs to be. So I can cut that out, I can stick it to the brass, I can use that to cut it to size, and I can use it to mark everything on it. We actually do not need any of these torpedo vents here. They are later additions, they are not as built. So what we need is the ventilators here and here, and here and here, and the lavatory fillers here and here, the rain strips, and the electrical conduit. That is all this needs. And I have all the stuff for that, because it does include it all in the kit. Well, not the rain strips and electrical conduits, but, you know, I have brass. And as you can see, I do now have brass. Unfortunately, I have ordered slightly thicker. Was it electrically lit from building? Yes, it was electrically lit from building. I have ordered brass slightly thicker than I normally would by accident, but it's still thin enough that it should all work fine. And it took like 2 weeks to arrive. That was the more annoying bit. Doesn't that reflection look nice? Rather being prepared in advance. You say that after I've taken a week off from doing it, because I didn't have the brass. But yes, so I can cut this out. I can roll the roof. I have the template to get the shape of the roof right. Just have to look and check I do have the template after saying that. So I could put that on and there's the roof. All done. Perfect. You'd never know. Tell you what I don't have though. I don't have the double-sided tape in here. I was sure I'd put that in here. Still better than me with my A2, only have the chassis, boiler, smoke box and fittings. Yeah, but you're not building it for an audience, Red. Look, I do have the double-sided tape. It was definitely in here the whole time. Why would you say it wasn't? Good Lord, we're running bang on time. Sandy at 21:12, hit the platforms at 21:11:58. Car. That will not do, Alex. You're going to have to slow down. I mean, it's bad enough you're running at all. Some of us are used to southern performance. And there's a link to Patreon. Because, yes, I do spend a lot of money on these live streams. Every little helps. If you couldn't tell, I spend a lot of money on these live streams. I have literally built a recording studio in my house with proper recording studio gear. Yes, but this is the mail train. We run to the clock. The night mail crossing the border. I'm not doing any more of that one. I think I've got that on my laptop somewhere. So now we stick our cardboard to our bit of brass. This is where we find out if it's too thick. As we do that trick that Corbs has only just learned. You can cut brass with scissors. I wish I'd give anything to have the LMS Nightmare in TS with full Steam era West Coast mainline to run it on. I mean, it would be a great thing to run, wouldn't it? And the problem, of course, is when you get so far in that the brass is getting in the way of the handle of the scissors. It's only a single Steam era TPO coach in TS, which renders it basically useless. Yeah. I mean, you could always run a Hornby style mail train with a single coach. And it would still be one of their better mail sets. I've seen them call things mail trains, that the only blooming carriage they've got is the old four-wheeler. Right. Is that going to be long enough? Because I feel like I want this folded lots of times for my thick bit of brass. True, something's pressed it up. Have one or two TPO coaches attached to them. See, you can do it. Hydration is still important. Holmes Princess of the Night by Saxon. Good song, right? Good, haven't heard that in ages. It is a good song. Yes, I agree. Now is when we find out if the brass I've ordered is too thick. Because, of course, if it's too thick, it's not going to roll. And we're really, really hoping it does. So I'm just going to give it a few rolls just to see if we get anything from it. And I'm going to try hard not to let that slip to an angle like that again. I don't think we're getting anything from it. Swiss rolls. No, unfortunately not, James. But this might be the sort of thickness that requires actual rolling bars. Does look as though you're making pastry. It's getting a very slight roll, a slight curve. But yeah, this is too thick. I'm going to have to order some thinner brass because I do not have rolling bars, and with something that's too thick and not rolling very well, that is not going to be an easy shape to make. Yes, but A, it wouldn't be like mail, and B, it wouldn't have the route to run on. Minor details, Alex. Minor details. Yeah, I did notice. Obviously, I noticed before we started that the brass was too thick. I noticed when it arrived. The problem is, it didn't arrive till Friday, so there wasn't time for me to order more before the stream. In fact, yeah, it arrived later than my book from Amazon, which arrived on Thursday. And I have read the whole thing cover to cover. 6.5 more to go. Indeed, more brass waiting, but I did leave these in here. So we've still got more we could be doing. I've rarely used brass, but I've used tin offcuts from work before. They gave some interesting results. See, I built my L-class Baltic tank out of brass, and Oak Hill is made out of brass. The Manning Wardle. I think that's everything. Yeah, that's everything. I should even have some nice spoked wheels for that, the right size, next to me. Huzzah for more Linny handwriting, I mean kits. Indeed, Alex. More kits with no instructions. So we're going to look them over, and we're going to think that we probably start with the body again around the floor. And then build the chassis onto it. That's how it looks to me. And these are clearly the inside planks with a cardboard overlay for the outside, which covers up the joins in the wood as well as giving us detail on the inside. Very cleverly designed. Tin is an absolute pain to stay flat while working with it, I found. Yeah, I can see that. In fact, from memory, you can build the body and the chassis mostly as separate parts on this one. I was thinking that. It does look like you can. But yeah, interesting fact here. I saw pointed out on RM Web earlier a fact about larger four-coupled engines, so 240s, 440s, etc. And the positioning of the firebox. Oh, and their tank engine equivalents, so 442s as an example. And the firebox having to end before getting to the rear axle, so the back head has to be in front of the rear axle. And I thought, that's interesting. And it was explained why, and it's like, oh, that makes perfect sense. That's clearly an obvious thing that everyone should know with a bit of force if they know how these things work. Except for on the i3, it doesn't. The back head is behind the rear axle, and the firebox is a weird shape to go round it. So there's my fun fact. For a prototype for everything. So let's start with the MDF parts of the body. And yeah, I'd have never known that fact if it wasn't for having the i3 picture, the i3 drawing, sorry, on the wall in here. Bet it wasn't the only one either, quite possibly. But as I say, the reasons given make perfect mechanical sense to do with how the running gear and everything works and all that jazz, all the clever stuff inside it that I don't understand. It's like, oh yeah, that it did make perfect sense. I'd have never known otherwise if I didn't have that drawing on the wall in here. I've just remembered that last one that I've just put down needed doing on both sides, not just the one. Yes, but when did railways in this country ever follow common sense? Well, yes, that's true. Very true indeed. I wish I could remember what all the reasons were earlier, so that I could recite them to you, and you could be like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Even after seeing the drawing, it still makes perfect sense that that's not a thing. And yet, clearly, it is. just to confuse everyone. Brunel, Craven, bullied. Well, I mean, do we give Brunel credit for designing engines these days? Wasn't every engine he designed an abysmal failure? And Craven's policy of an engine designed for every individual task does make sense when you think about it from a purely logical standpoint. It's not until you see the build-up in the works that it stops making sense. Brunel was a better civil engineer than he was a mechanical engineer. Indeed he was. Indeed he was. Wasn't just talking about engines, just designs as a whole. Fair enough. And then, of course, you get people come in and completely throw everything up in the air with absolutely fantastic designs that work really well and are not this carriage that it could look like I'm pointing to, but are in fact this loco, from someone who had no engineering training whatsoever, and in fact went to a state school. So he was shunned from a lot of circles there. Although I'm sure other people that have studied just how some of his engines work could tell you that his lack of formal engineering education shows occasionally. You peasant. Exactly, Alex. But yes, Brunel was indeed very good at bridges, James. Yes, he was a state school educated peasant. And by the time he died was the most respected engineer in the country. No, don't fall over. You need to stand up. And the glue needs to set. But you definitely need to be standing up for that. On the monocle mode, there's different in chat and on screen. Chat looks superior, on screen he has a smile. Yeah, the ones you see on screen are from Streamlabs. The ones you see in the chat are from YouTube, and they use different libraries. Almost all of them have very subtle differences. I have on my desk now a model of Class 47 named after a very early Great Western engine. Yeah. But was that early engine designed by Brunel or the far superior designer Daniel Gooch? Right, that one's stuck-ish. I suspect it was a Gooch engine. It's Firefly. Yeah, Firefly was a Gooch engine. Much better than anything Brunel designed. Streamlabs managed to totally ruin the point of the molecular emote. Well, I say, it's not Streamlabs themselves. It's still pulled from a library somewhere. It's just a different one to the one that YouTube use. But I mean, I'm happy to blame Streamlabs if you want. Firefly worked was a success, so obviously it was Gooch. Exactly. Gooch, who one day took a chance on giving an apprenticeship to a young man named William. I'd like to feel that apprenticeship paid off and was worth it. If only there was more stuff by this young William that people might be able to find to discover how well it went. A lot of CMEs started GWR over the years. Yes, but most of them had some form of prior training or a public school background before getting there. Most of them weren't some state school person who had never done anything engineering wise before. Started chatting. Talking GWR CMEs, one of my colleagues has names and two of them Dean Armstrong. Yeah. Must have a nice collection of locos to go with that name. Bet he doesn't even like the GWR. Luckily, the Swindon brass copper obsession didn't rub off on most of them. And what's wrong with brass and copper? Copper capped chimneys, for example, can look very nice, Alex. Didn't even realise GWR connections told him. Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you're not going to get that from most people, are you? I approve of polished things. Yeah, polished metal looks good. Shiny brass has a very nice look to it. Brass and copper is fantastic pre-World War One. In the 1930s, less so. Saves on paint. There's a recession going on, you know, Alex. Just going to take these slowly, carefully, and one at a time. And I put the wrong file away. We're going to be very careful, just taking these bits off here. because you will see my hand through that piece. I need to polish my brass doorknobs and candlesticks. Brass doorknobs are fantastic. They stop the spread of disease and viruses. But I keep using all the brass over numbering locomotives. 1937 in the LB&SCR, the future is now. GWR. Is Victoria still Queen? Hardly. The GWR were pioneering diesel and their shirt button logo is very much of the time. Their attempts at streamlining, less so. Simulator, Gary, now filing card. Goodness. Indeed. Filing card. Approve your approval of brass doorknobs. Just like the Horsebox, stunning bit of design and laser cutting. Isn't it just, Matt? Diesel logos are far more modern than Steam. I hear they are, but they're also far inferior. And there we go. Now we have planking on the outside and the inside. You're talking about different trash types. Right, night, I've got to go in early tomorrow. See you in the morning on Discord. Good night, Red. See you in the morning on Discord. Have the funds, sleep well, and don't work too hard. Linny, I have to file card because I want to get these kits right. They're so beautifully designed. I want to make sure they're just as well built. Ouch, just dropped the knife on my toe. Ow! I have dropped kitchen knives on my toe. That is not fun. I am okay. That is good. That was to be my follow-up. I have never dropped a modelling knife on my toe, though. Yes, but the corners will be covered by the capping strips. Yes, but on this, it was the top and bottom. They won't be covered by the capping strips. And there we go, let's see. Perfect. Doesn't it look good? This is suboptimal, proof being okay, at least you don't need the nurse and infinite carriage. Stabbed myself with a drill earlier. Ow! That kit is wonderful as the last. I hope you can bring them back. Gives me a proof of Linny's wagons. Aren't Linny's wagons fantastic? We've still got loads more detail to add to this, and it already looks brilliant. Can't argue against that. The whole image GWR is trying to put forward tradition of chocolate box type railways. That's very true, Alex. It very much was, yes. There is no doubt on there. So if we're going, I before doing these live streams, I had a reputation for hurting myself whilst modelling. I have a scar on this thumb. You can just see it here. I'd put that to one side and build the other side and end. Yeah, I've got to do the other side and end yet. So I was using my Stanley knife one day, and I went that way when I made that scar. And it goes back to about here. In that way, straight through the thumb, straight through the nail. Ow. I can't find the scars now. They've obviously gone down, but I've taken the tips off both thumbs a couple of times. This is the really painful one, though. Oh, the other side, it was in the 20s, they tried to look modern and I have a whole bottle of TCP in the kitchen as a result of modelling injuries. That's a good idea. This screwdriver here, this exact one, it has a slight bend in it now at the end here. And the reason it has that slight bend in it is because one day I slipped with this screwdriver. It went in there and came out the other side. And the bend is from when it hit the wall, whatever it was I was working on at the time, behind me. And bent. That was painful. And that was my first big one. Currently still the worst. If anyone wants to try and top that, please do. While still putting photography on the locomotive, still actually into World War One. They didn't modernise the appearance of the locomotives very much, but the carriages and publicity material were updated. Yeah, but the locos weren't. That's kind of the point Alex was making. Sounds very painful. It was very painful. After I've put the screwdriver through my nail once, I had a cool sign before it fell off. So it's all pass on trying to stop your modelling injuries. It's probably for the best. Definitely can't top that. Yeah, that was a very painful one. And just to remind everyone, I am a haemophiliac. When I bleed, I don't stop bleeding. Injuries like that require bandages and ambulances. Oh, and there was this one the other day. I mentioned that one on Discord. That was this knife into there. I do not recommend it. And invalid carriages. Well, it certainly stopped me using that hand for a little while. Yes, James. I could still walk though, unfortunately, so they wouldn't let me have my own carriage. Got some china clay in the house now. I haven't. I need to remember to do that. I did mean to get some after you mentioned it. But yeah, actually, that was you can see what I meant about why it was painful and bleeding with where it was. Luckily, I do have bandages and stuff at least. Pause for dinner. These kids looking great. Okay, Andy, enjoy your dinner. Hopefully you make it back before the end of the stream. We've still got plenty of time to go. I'll make one last point. Look at A4 Duchess, Bully Pacific and County. Which one looked like it was from the 20s? I mean, out of all those, only one of them looks like it wasn't streamlined for publicity's sake, to be fair. Albeit one I'm not a fan of. So yes, this is the point where now that we've got all four sides on, we put the body away and work on the chassis. But we will come back to the body because we have lots of detail to add still. Aesthetically, top link GWR locomotives look less modern than the other companies, but the ordinary locomotives of other companies looked much more similar. But that's the point that Alex was making, to be fair. Yes, lots of detail, James. Lots of detail indeed. That's the point he was making, then I agree. I return from a very migraine. Wonderful. Ouch, ouch. I do not approve of migraines. Migraines are bad. I hope you are feeling much better now, Javier. You join us with a Linny Open D. We've built the body. But I wouldn't recommend them. No, 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 definitely not. We've built the body and we're just starting work on the chassis. That's right, I've got Ginties, M7s, J72s, all had copper brass chimney caps and domes. Grr. Yes, the sleep seems to have helped it. Excellent. That is good to hear. It took me many, many hours to get to sleep after my last migraine. It was not fun. In fact, my last migraine was during a live stream. I do believe it's the only time I've ever ended a live stream early. Getting a headache. It's not spreading, is it? Might be something else that's headachy. Anyway, Alex, everyone knows that the pre-grouping aesthetic was better than the 1940s aesthetic anyway. That's the most important thing to take out of this. Had headaches all my life. Only ever had one migraine. Never want one again. Yeah, that makes sense. They are horrendous, aren't they? I haven't had many migraines, thankfully. But I've had enough. Back to punch my monitor. Don't punch your monitor. It lets you see what I'm doing. Don't punch your keyboard either. It lets you type in chat about what I'm doing. Don't, Alex. Be a good Alex. Heavy breathing and cake. Cake is a lie, though. Yes. Unless it's in your tea, like cherry Bakewell tea. My doctor gave me some magic pills for migraines. They're banned in the UK and even the US. Wow. They sound like good pills. I want those pills. Give me those pills. Oh, I've just noticed on this kit, this is obviously one of Linny's later kits than, or later designed than the Horsebox. Focus, go on. The axle box covers actually say LB and SC. That's quite impressive, Linny. Even by Linny standards, that's really impressive on a laser cut kit. I think I knew about that and had forgotten. I was right at the limit of what the cutter would do. Yeah, I can imagine. That's really, really impressive. I'd have been quite shocked if the cutter could do more than that. Well, they're bad. Just take two and find a bed before you fall asleep. Something to do with the fatal side effects, but migraine or potential death, I take the pills. Yeah, yeah, fair enough. I don't think anyone's going to argue with you there. Right then, let's check the bearings go in the holes. They do indeed. I quite like being alive. I mean, being alive is good. Don't get that. Plenty of pills in the UK list potentially fatal side effects are very, very rare. Yeah, but yeah. A lot of stuff that has licenses in the UK now wouldn't actually pass current standards to get a license. Ouchie. Sorry, Remo, have you? Also reminds me of every commercial. I still think it's weird that you have commercials for medication. I've got to look at the name. BRB. Take or leave being alive. Yeah, I know you can, Alex. I disagree with you on that front. Both where I'm concerned and where you're concerned. Everyone's smiling. Everyone read the side effects. That's because they're paid to. It's still weird. The concept of healthcare being a business is weird. Thank God for universal state-provided healthcare. Or in other words, God bless the NHS and all those who serve her. And that part of the test is sped up to get it all out. Of course. I also would not recommend it. Yeah, I can imagine. Like, it seems weird to me that there are people in America who have died because they didn't want to have to face the bill of going to the hospital. Like, I go to the hospital, I don't even think about what it costs. Because it doesn't cost me anything. And it's so strange to me that there is that out there. Lost a job and lost my whole family's health coverage instantly. Ouch. So that's such a strange concept for me. The NHS is the best part of it. Indeed it is. I won't comment on these subjects I can't without getting into politics, and that's a no-no. Yeah, I mean, I'm skirting around the politics. But it is definitely one of those subjects that is borderline. So many better ways to do than here in the US. Well, yeah, of course, the best way is the British way that is slowly being eroded, of everything is paid for by the state. I mean, it's not as such, because we do pay, but every worker in the UK does pay medical insurance. And it comes up on your payslip as national insurance. That is paying for your healthcare. Okay, that is apparently stuck already. I can't get it out. But it's a percentage of your wage. And if you don't have, and everyone still has that healthcare, whether they have a job or not. I can say certainly I know at least 3 people who have taken their cars to the hospital as to avoid taking the ambulance. Yeah, see, that's another thing that's really weird, is that, like, ambulance bills. It's weird. I'm going to refill the hydration vessel. I'm back. It's metesmazole. I'm going to guess I'm saying that right. If I'm not, then I'm not. But I'm going to say I am. Oh, and not all medicine is free in the UK. I should stress that to our American friends. Medicine is not free. There are benefits that if you're getting, you don't have to pay for it. But, so if you're working, if your doctor puts you on some pills, you go to the pharmacy, and it doesn't matter what your medicine that you require is, it's £7. £7.90 I think now, actually. But that's for anything. That's whatever they give you, it's £7.90. The NHS foots the rest of the bill. Maybe south of the border, no prescription charge here in Scotland. Medicine is free. Yeah, well, that's because in Scotland you're slightly more socialist than we are. Hydration is important. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Socialist healthcare is a good thing. Okay, guys, off to bed. Stay safe, please. Bye for now. Okay, good night, Bob. Thank you for coming. Great to have you as always. Sleep well. We don't have a national system as such, but everyone has to have health insurance by law. So I see some number of paramedics are kind of independent contractors and thus not part of the hospital system. Only England pays for prescriptions. Taking a taxi, bleeding to the hospital, wrapped it up to hide it from the driver. And hospital parking. Oh yeah, hospital parking's atrocious. You can't park in a hospital in the UK. You'll end up paying American health fees, even if you work there. Wait, no, that is the side I want. So we check that these fit. They do indeed. But yeah, the NHS is not necessarily the best health service in the world because there are a lot of things it cannot do. And you would have to go abroad and pay privately for. But at the same time, it is the best health service in the world because it can do most things for free. If I lived in Wales, which is only less than an hour west of me, I would get free prescriptions and parking. Just drive there next time you got a prescription, Alex. That's the answer. Although I'll be honest, I thought you were on one of the. I thought you got one of the payments that means you get free prescriptions anyway. Oh God, no! Don't tell me they're the only wheels I've got. Oh no, they're the wheels. There's the other wheels. Oh no, that's just loco wheels. Handy. There's no way I'm putting those wheels in there. There is no way I'm putting those in there. You're what I was looking for. Why is there only one of you? That's just not fair. NHS is the second largest employer in the world. Indeed it is, yes. I think we should have an NHS day like Red Nose Days where we raise money for the NHS. Well, the NHS is paid for out of taxes. What we should have is higher pay rises for its staff. But that's crossing the line if we get into that territory, so let's stay away from that. Probably do, but can't remember the last time I needed any meds. Fair enough. I have loads of the right wheels in here. None of them are on axles. But I've got these nice split spoke wheels that I want to use. There's plenty of them. There's some slightly smaller ones that are too small but do have. What one really should have is donations whose cost per death averted is massively lower than that of the NHS. What one should really have is donations whose cost per death averted is massively lower than the NHS. Yeah. Donations to charities. Ah, yes. Yes, definitely. Definitely. Without getting too much into policy, the NHS shouldn't need fundraising. Exactly. Yeah, I've got loads of these wheels in here, but no axles to put them on. All my axles have flat ends on them. Okay, here's one. That's helpful, isn't it? I've got one axle. One pointy axle. The only wheels with axles that I actually have a pair of axles for, I've picked up the wrong ones, are these, and there's no way I'm putting these underneath it. So I'll have to dig out my box of... I've got another box of wheels elsewhere. But that's deep, deep, deep in the cupboard. I'll have to dig that out next time. Never mind. We're going to put this on and be really naughty and hope we don't snap it when we put some wheels in it. It should flex just that once. And I've built enough of Linny's kits to know that the wheels will go in perfect. But yeah, going back to medicines and licensing and stuff, as Alex said, a lot of UK medicines do have fatal side effects. However, there are a lot of things that wouldn't pass today. So for those in the UK, because I can't remember its American name, it had a different name in America. At least it did the last time. I don't believe they use the name over there at all. It's paracetamol, which is the most common painkiller in the UK. You can go and buy it from Tesco for 50p for a box of 24 tablets. Would not get a medical licence if it were submitted today. It would not pass current tests for safe medicine. Acetaminophen in the US. There we go. I knew someone would be able to look it up. I had similar issue yesterday finding wheels for the bogies as Pico ratio still insists on supplying plastic wheels with their bogies. Yes, that's so horrid, isn't it? Those plastic wheels. And they come on the sprue as well. Every time I buy one of their kits, I buy wheels at the same time. I'm physically in the actual real office tomorrow. Love you and leave you. Good night. All stay well and don't burden the NHS. Good night, Paderborn. Sleep well. Enjoy being in the actual office tomorrow. Great to have you here as always, etc. And I shall try not to burden the NHS too much. It suggests the tests are too difficult to pass. No, it suggests that paracetamol is a lot more dangerous than you expect. Tylenol brand name. Ah, yes, Tylenol. That's the name I was thinking of. Tylenol. That's the one I've heard several times. Also managed to fit bearings to them so it rolls as well as one of Linear's kits. Excellent. Those kits are great with bearings and metal wheels. I do agree. I've got some Brighton bashed kits using those, and they do run well. Paracetamol is very dangerous in overdose. It is indeed. Meh, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I'll take the chance. Except for a broken leg. A broken leg does not make you stronger, Alex. Shouldn't affect people who don't take it in overdose. Well, it shouldn't, but yeah. It is not. It would not pass modern safety standards. That is my fact. And I always find it weird that something that is so common and we all have loads of wouldn't pass. Bit of extra glue there because they weren't quite holding strong. But I've taken 2 headache tablets, and so be it. Well, you won't die from 2 of them. It is basically the only over-the-counter painkiller I can take because of my blood disorders. So, aspirin, for example, thins your blood. And I, as a haemophiliac, can't take stuff that thins your blood. Oh, I've got some glue on the inside of that. I can see it now. I was wondering why it was feeling a bit tight in one corner. Me fumbling with the glue on these sides earlier. Ibuprofen's the same. In fact, pretty much all anti-inflammatories are the same. I cannot take anti-inflammatories. Right, stupid question, but what's the difference between P4 and EM? I've been reading up and feeling mightily dull for not understanding it. P4 is accurate, EM isn't. EM is 00 with the wheels a bit further apart. P4 is actually meeting prototypical standards for the size. EM is close to standard 00, P4 is quite different. Yeah, P4 is much more intricate than 00. So EM is 00 with the wheels slightly further apart. P4 meets the exact 176.2 scale real standards. EM is much closer to reality than 00, but not as close as P4. Also that. EM is much easier to work with than P4. One has to look very closely to see the difference between P4. Well put, Massey. I mean, well-laid 00 can look as good if you've got nothing to actual proper scale near it. EM conversion would be very easy. P4 is a lot of work. Yep. I have locos that I bought as EM locos and converted back to 00 by pushing the wheels slightly closer together and chopping off the ends of the axles. Got a wheel tank that I did a while ago. I never did fully understand it. Diminishing returns issue with P4 versus EM. There is. I like to think that the difference is that there's a reason to use P4. But that's what I consider the difference. If you're going for scale, go for scale. Trying to work out where these lines meet is doing my head in. Well, then it sounds like it's time to stop for the evening, Alex. What's the reason to use P4 rather than EM? Because P4 is actually to scale, EM isn't. If I'm not going to be to scale, I'm going to use 00 because I can buy it off the shelf. If I'm going to be going for scale, I'll use them P4. Cover that with glue. And stick the buffeting over. No, not you. You. I need to poke you through the hole and make sure you're lined up properly. If you ever modelled in P4, I have not built anything in P4, but I have operated in it. And I'm aware of the effort involved in modelling it. There you go, it does seem like a pointless. Yeah. If you want fine scale, then you want P4. If you don't want fine scale, then 00 comes off the shelf, ready to run. And there we go. Good evening, Richard. I am very well. How are you? One wants fine scale that looks 95% as good as P4. About 50% of the work. Use EM. As I say, well, if you're putting in the work, then you can make 00 look just as good as EM. If you're putting in the work, you can make 00 look as good as P4. I've seen it done. I've seen it fool P4 modelers. Very well, thank you, Gary. A little tired. Thought I'd jump on to see how the wagon is getting on. Well, we're on a completely different project that we had no plans on doing. Obviously, we started off with a Horsebox that is waiting for lettering really now, and we've also built most of a Brighton Open D from one of Linny's kits. That was not the plan, but my brass was wrong. Track build is not my forte, so my large scale layouts will be 00 or 009, but I am working on EM gauge layout at club. While P4 does look impressive, personally I feel the difference isn't enough to justify the extra work. Track building's not my forte. But yeah, that's our point. Yes, I have modelled in P4. I have built a P4 set of points. It was the first bit of soldering I ever did was some P4 track. Got to remember to put these ones on the right way up because Linny went to the effort of making them right. Gosh, P4 track, indeed. Yeah, it was scary. When I get back into model railways, one of the clubs local to me was a P4 club, 800 Bertie's, and oh, very nice. Very nice indeed. But yeah, I mean, the P4 layout at club is mostly flexi track, because you can buy P4 flexi track. It's just an astounding level of detail on this kit. Benetton layout is one of my all-time favourite layouts. Genuinely incredible. It is indeed. Didn't join it in the end, feeling like it wasn't for me. I remember a member saying that, well, one day you'll be modelling in P4. I just didn't feel like P4 was for me. I can understand that. It's my goal to see it in flesh one day. The thing about P4 is one needs very exacting standards. Well, yes, one does indeed. And that's my point. If you're going fine scale, go fine scale. If you're not, don't. So happy with 00. In the end, I joined the same club as Linny. Enjoyed being in that one since then. Makes sense. Very skilled modelers produce some impressive things in P4. They do indeed. You model what you feel comfortable with. That's how the hobby should be. Exactly. I would quite happily start again in P4 if I wasn't so deep in already in 00. I have hundreds of locos across everything, most of which have 3 or 4 items of rolling stock dedicated to them. Some of them have more than that. I mean, obviously the rolling stock, most of it is easy drop-in wheel sets. Not all of it is, mind, but most of it. The locos would be a lot more challenging. I'd have to actually build compensation, which, yes, you have seen me do before. But I'd rather not when I can avoid it. Mum got me the latest MRJ the other day, completely out of blue, because it had SRE News, an article about Burntisland and Roundhouse on it. MRJ is a good magazine. I like MRJ. Hydration is important. So, there's my MRJ collection, Alex. First about Burnt Island. I'm actually aware of that. I've been told several times. I choose to ignore it and pronounce it how it's said. MRJ's good, makes super inadequate. Yeah. My MRJ collection goes all the way back to the very special issue 0. Because, you know, everything good should start with a number 0. All the best things. Model Railway Journal. It is indeed Model Railway Journal. Said like a true programmer. Indeed, James. And MRJ is still independently owned and printed in a living room. I have a grand total of 2. The one from the other day, one from a couple of years back, had loads of MR layouts in it. I mean, yeah, why not? Certainly, it's got as many town names that don't sound like they should. It does indeed, but so does everywhere. And you can see here that there are many post-it notes across my MRJs, including some Midland Railway ones here, Alex. And making trees. St George's Hill, which was in 2 parts, and was the cover of issue 101, and was made by a friend of mine. All sorts of fun stuff in there. You can buy them in newsagents or a subscription service. I do believe they sell it in WH Smith's. But they do also have a subscription. Shops, goodness me, I remember shops. Yeah, they're good, James. I occasionally travel to my local one. Not as often as I used to, but occasionally. Is that you flexing, Gary? No, just pointing out that I had was it MRJ is a very well respected magazine, and getting on the cover of it would be an amazing achievement for any modeler. I only found out that my friend had done a cover of MRJ when I got that issue of MRJ and saw his layout on the front of it. I'm sure Linny can guess which friend of mine is talented enough to have a layout on the cover of MRJ. Time for some detail work on this wagon. Yes, I'm assuming a certain LSWR modeler. Indeed, Linny. Indeed it is. He is, of course, that level of talented. Turn that the white side up. Maybe only big ones have them. I had to go to Worcester to get mine. Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I'm sure Smiths do it. Probably going to Smiths and ask. It's very much the more talented end of the model railway magazines. Everything in it is impressive. Most of the ones near me are small ones, unfortunately. That is a shame. So my local Smiths just closed down. No more model railway mags for me for the foreseeable. Boom. Just have to subscribe, Alex. So I didn't know H. Smith buy a model round, like shop-wise. They used to have a close tie-in with Model Zone back when Model Zone was still a thing. But I don't think they ever actually bought a brand. I'm sure it was Model Zone where they had branches inside WH Smith stores. Do any more British model rail magazines regularly have any drawings? quite a lot of them have drawings. There's a lot of magazines I only buy for the drawings in them. Made the mistake of subbing to model rail magazines in the past, ran out of room very quickly. Yeah, fair enough. Railway Modeler does. Used to buy Railway Modeler every month now. That one. Now I buy the one that has a nice picture on the cover. Yep, that makes sense. In fact, saying Railway Modeler does, I've just pulled one off the top because I saw a tag out of it, so I know it has LB&SCR J-class drawings in it, and it is Railway Modeler. I really need to do something with all these magazines that I've only got for the sake of one drawing. Like, you know, cut the drawing out and throw away the rest of the magazine. Especially Railway Modeler. I'm not a fan of Railway Modeler. Or its editor. What did you dislike RM's editor? He gave a talk to the MRC recently over Zoom. He's very arrogant. Goodness me, teeny detail. Indeed, teeny detail. He's very arrogant and likes to think that everything he's involved with is a lot better than it is. How does this arrogance manifest itself? Have you ever met him in person, James? Met the man a couple of times at shows. And yeah. It does not take long for his arrogance to manifest itself in the way he looks at layouts and talks about them. No, never met the chap. Ah, well, yeah. They will. When he's going around model railway shows, he is very, very much looks down his nose at a lot of layouts. And I'm not going to say all, because there are layouts that he looks at and is nice about. But there are layouts where you will see him just start saying things all like, look at this here, and pointing out errors on them. When you know there are, you could be holding a copy of his latest magazine and point out exactly the same errors in layouts in his magazine. Oh, these aren't very good. They've got too big of a gap in the rail here. Like, it's running at an exhibition. Clearly the gap isn't that big. That's an example of one I've actually heard him say. He was standing in front of a layout moaning about it because the gaps between track pieces were too big. Arrogance in the model railway. Surely not. I know, Alex, right? Contour and railway modelling people, it seems. Yeah. But yeah, that's one that I remember. And he was like, oh, they're too big, these gaps between the rails. It's like, if they're that big, why is it working at a show? Really nice layout as well. Can't remember what it was. And when he was on the telly judging the model railways, me and the kids sat there with a copy of the Railway Modeler. Every time he pointed out something with a layout, well, we opened this copy of Railway Modeler and found a layout with exactly the same thing. Now, I realise he had to point out things for TV because TV demands these things. But for everything to be something that he's willing to publish, seems a bit much. I refuse reviews with your own people in the hobby, especially in magazines and on forums. Sounds like you have a clear agenda, sir. Oh, I'm sorry, Alex. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Alex. I clearly do have an agenda. I'm sorry. But I'm sure he won't lose any sleep over if he discovered that I'm not a fan of him. And, you know, I hope he doesn't lose any sleep over it. Fun fact, last time I saw him was at the Haywards Heath show, where I bought my D3 from Golden Arrow. I only saw him at lunchtime that day. He never came into the room our layout was in. Maybe he doesn't like me either. Luckily, the 2 times I've met fairly famous railway modelers, they were lovely people. Gordon and Maggie Gravett are lovely. Met them. Detail work on the body time. Proof D3. They haven't met many well-known railway modelling people, just Tony Wright and Jennifer Kirk, I think. I mean, that's 2 more than a lot of people have. And they're particularly good names at that. Especially Jenny. So don't trust her reviews because she gets things to review for free, and I'm not a fan of that personally. But she's a wonderful person. Talked to Graham Muzz for ages at Milton Keynes in 19. Oh yeah, Muzz is a wonderful bloke. Muzz is great. It was really interesting, my London shed plan I was thinking of at the time. I'm sure he was, yes. Saw Richard from Everard Johnson, Ali Pally one year. See, I've met, I don't know if he counts as famous for most people, but there's definitely some here that would know of him. So I'm friends with Matt Wickham of Bluebell Model Railway. Met him at the Isle of Wight, and we talk on Twitter and Facebook and occasionally RM Web. Asking loads of questions about Fish and Sorum. Of course, that is a fantastic layout. Jenny Kirk does seem very nice. I met Tony Wright, who's giving a demonstration of kit building exhibition, gave me some tips. Excellent. Any of those tips include pay someone else to do it. Love Everone Johnson, never met him, I've seen him at an exhibition. I do love his channel. Was the second model railway channel I subscribed to. Everard Junction was. Way back when. Jenny Kirk's starting to become known here in the States, appeared on some podcasts and YouTube shows. Most of the American things are interesting. Graham sorted me out with set buffers for the road van when it turns up. Excellent. Matt Wickham is definitely semi-famous, I would say. Yeah. I don't think he's got the same public profile as he used to have. But yeah, he's a top bloke. Many interesting discussions with him. I was watching his channel for years before getting into railway modelling again as an adult. Not MC Matt. Not met Matt, but he's done a few bits for me. Excellent. Talking about Jenny Kirk, she's got a job with DCC Concepts now. Ah, does she? I did not know that. I thought her wagon announcement was interesting. I'd say I did it first. But, you know. Matt Wickham does seem like a nice chap. Yeah, he is. I say, because we've talked online for years and years and years. So when I was going over to the Bluebell, over to the Isle of Wight, sorry, I dropped him a message saying, you know, Matt, coming over to the Isle of Wight for this day to go play trains on the railway. Any chance you're going to be there? So he made sure he was there for that day. It's going to be social media manager, video creator for them, I think. Ah, excellent. That seems very well suited to her. Does that mean she's giving up trucking? It is trucking she does, isn't it? Or am I thinking of someone else? But yeah, that's a very good role for her. She's exactly the sort of person I'd want to hire to do that if I were to hire someone to do that. I think so, yes. No, that's her. Yeah. I'm glad I got that right. But yeah, that's really good news. She'll be good at that. I know approximately nothing about Jenny Kirk other than what people on Discord have said. She does live streams on a Monday night of running trains on her rather large layout and just generally chatting. I watch, but I have the sound turned off because I'm in my club meeting at the time they're on. She also lists this live stream on her website, or did. I don't know if she's still got that page. But yeah, this is listed on her website as a thing that happens. So that's always nice. Why then, don't watch any model railway YouTubers or streamers apart from you. I mean, I am the best one out there, so that's probably a good move. After coming here, you'll just be disappointed with any others. That's true. Don't anyone say that's not true. You are the one I enjoy the most. Oh well, thank you, Andy. That genuinely does mean a lot when people say stuff like that. She was also on the Great Model Railway show as well, I believe. Gutted they didn't have that this year. Guessing it was COVID that knocked it on the head, sadly. She was, along with Simon Martin, who is, I suppose, semi-famous for his The British Railway Stories YouTube series and book, and is another person I can count among friends. But yeah, it was COVID that knocked that on the head this year. There were plans for a third series. I don't know if they're still going to do it. I have been asked both Series 1 and Series 2. They got in touch and asked if I wanted to do it. And I politely declined. I was on the previous series in episode 4. You were indeed. I suppose that makes you a famous railway modeller, Richard. No, I do remember you on it. You were the team of, oh, I recognise all these people's names off of Twitter. Really, our episode was the first one they filmed. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I assumed they were filmed in the order they were shown. Interesting. TV is a strange thing. Didn't fancy it then, Gary. I mean, certainly at the time, I don't feel like I had a team to put together. But being on TV seems like a bit of a weird thing for me. If I were asked again, I might do it. Because I could probably put a team together. But you'll notice that I generally stay behind the camera, and I like it that way. I'm definitely much more comfortable with my face not being in front of it. But my face has also appeared a few times, so I can't say that it's a definite no to being in front of the camera. I was about to watch that via a very roundabout way, blocked in the States somehow. I thought there was ways you could watch it in the States. I was like, the kids always really enjoyed it. I was first, loved Fawley Hills, got a tour of the place and got to see late Sir William McAlpine's collection. In McAlpine, I can say that. That's very cool, Richard. Do it, save yourself. but I could wear like t-shirts that say Oak Hill Model Railway, Sunday night, 9 p.m. Had to be quiet at times though, if they were still filming. Yeah, room full of Flying Scotsman merchandise. Well, I am not surprised by that in the slightest. I hope I've cut off the right one. I haven't. I've cut off the wrong one now. I want that one when I get round to the other side. I want this one now. Definitely, dude. I tried to get a few fellas at work to make up a team. They're awesome modellers, but sadly not interested in railway modelling, so they told me to jog on. Boo. But it does make sense that as not being railway modellers that they wouldn't want to. But not everyone on there has been a railway modeller. I hope do it. So got a rundown line. People took unofficial team photos for us all. That's quite cool. Video reviews, TV shows, corporate sellout. Oh, I know, Alex. I know. I'm such a shill. Look, if I can shill my way to a bigger house with a proper with an even better studio and bigger layout space, then I'll shill my way there. Goodness, nearly pumpkin time. Indeed it is, Linny. I am keeping a close eye on it. Also, last model show I was at, I was in Scratch Build Challenge and was up against one of my competitors who was on the same show I was. Excellent. Excellent indeed. Put scientists in an amazing job on their layout. See, now you have to remind me, I don't do team names. I can't remember team names. Time ticking by like a spat's valve. Goshing's right, where does all the time go? Indeed, we both joked it was nice to actually scratch build something we actually wanted rather than what we were given. I mean, yeah, that's certainly an advantage. They were some, they were interesting, the scratch build challenges. Could you also shill yourself to having some kittens? No, I could not. Other than, of course, little plastic model ones. 3D printed, maybe. Right. Railway model. Railway enthusiasts don't know what a spiral valves are. I say. I need to, at the very least, get this one that I've already cut off stuck on. let's quickly stick this one on as well. And then we'll call it a night, because it is now 2 minutes to, well, it's less than that. But you know, the preciseness of the clock. There we go. Would you have kittens if you could have a kitten butler? Maybe, if I could have a kitten butler. Visit certain modernist train sat stations, class 67 opens up, as you hear ticking noise. That is Spirits valve, which releases moisture from the air system. Interesting, I remember class 6 is doing that. And yes, it is that time. Let's pop this on here, because that fits wonderfully now that I've got rid of the excess glue, he says. There we go, that's better. I'll put it on straight that time. And let's clean the paintbrush. So that it doesn't get all gunked up with glue. Spiral valves are very definitely a modern image thing. Well, they're certainly not something I've ever heard of. Well, in fact, I have heard of them because Alex has explained them to me before. And before we go, hydration is important. And we will bring this down because we've had another Linny stream. Sorry to come this late. What is it? Kit, and is it card? It is a bright. So this one is a Brighton Open D, which I assume is what you're talking about. It is MDF and card. It is laser cut. They are unfortunately no longer available. This Horsebox here, which is a Brighton Horsebox, is also MDF and card, showing just what can be done with a laser cutter. So yes, thank you. Even though you've come literally as I'm ending, thank you for coming, Paul. Good to have you. I hope you are well. Where did the expression modern image come from, and how has that time period, and how has the time period that it represents come to be stretched so much? Well, yeah, I mean, when you say things are modern image is actually a period in time that is defined by British Rail, since we're talking British Railway parlance, as the BR Blue era. Modern image starts in 1970 and ends sometime later, but it's the BR Blue era is actually modern image. Everything after BR Blue is technically not modern image, despite being modern image. Amazingly, the same thing is true in archaeology. When an archaeologist says the present, they mean the 1st of January 1970. That is the present in archaeological terms. Surely the BR Blue era started in 66. Okay, maybe it's 66 it started and I'm getting confused because the archaeology fact that I also threw in there. Because facts be facts, y'all. I don't get them all right. People may have noticed this by now. So, yes, here we have our accidental Linny stream, where we have finished off the Horsebox. It needs some transfers still, and maybe a little bit of touching up to the paint where I went a bit wrong. And we've started on the rather nice Open D. It's actually my first Open D. I don't have any models of Open Ds. So that is cool. Interesting thing that the modern image layout feature mainline steam in regular service. Yes. So can you obtain the plan so somebody with a laser cutter could produce some? Probably not. So say it's actually what one of my mods actually produced for the kits, and so they are copyright to Linny, who usually produces in 3D print now, but I don't know if they are producing even that at the moment, unfortunately, and they can't get near the laser cutter. Although they'd be open to someone else laser cutting things for them to hell if they could. I do believe. Right, looks great, Gary. And more great stuff from Linny, indeed. So yes, we have reached the end. I'd like to thank you all for coming. I have had a great time. I hope you have too. So all that's left to say is, this has been Let's Build. I've been Gary. You've been awesome as always. Good night.